Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. Today I want to talk about my top 15 Nintendo Switch games of all time. This console is very important to me. I've had it since the beginning. There's a huge pantheon of games to look through. I'm going to try and stray away from ports as much as possible, although there are some exceptions to that rule if they add a ton of content in the Switch version. So there might be some exceptions on this list, but I won't be including things like Metroid Prime Remastered since that was already on my GameCube list. Go check that out after this video is done if you want to hear about my thoughts on top 15 GameCube games or any other consoles I've covered so far. But with that out of the way, let's get into the list with number 15, which is going to be Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I haven't played through all of Sparks of Hope yet. I have heard that a lot of people think it's better than the original, but I love how charming this game is. Very tactic style, turn-based gameplay. You use guns and weapons, and you have the Rabbids and like Rabbid versions of all the Mario cast, which is really funny and weird, and it just works much better than you expect it to. You wouldn't expect a Mario & Rabbids XCOM game to be cool and interesting, but it absolutely is. The environments are fun to traverse, the puzzles are pretty good, the combat is excellent, the boss fights are phenomenal. They really knocked it out of the park with this game, and I love this collaboration between Nintendo and Ubisoft. Number 14 is going to be Kirby and the Forgotten Land. As far as Kirby games go, this is absolutely near the top. I love 2D Kirby games, but this is a really phenomenal way to bring Kirby into the 3D realm and do him justice. The power-ups look great in 3D, the worlds are really fun to traverse, lots of secrets, additional challenge that you can add if you're going out of your way to look for it. You have like the Coliseum, which is like a boss rush mode. They do a lot to give you tons of content in this game. I love everything about Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I'm excited to see if they do a sequel to this game in the same vein as with a 3D and everything. Number 13 is going to be Pikmin IV. This is a game I waited for a very long time. It was supposedly about ready to release back in like 2014, and then they must have overhauled or done something because then we just didn't hear heads or tails of it for a very long time. And finally it released, and it ended up being phenomenal. This is probably the best entry point to the series because it's the most accessible. They've taken everything from the previous games in the franchise and learned from that and made it a good experience for people that of any kind of experience level to jump into. You've got a character creation, you got the new companion Ochi, who's a lot of fun, makes traversing and getting items much more enjoyable. They did a lot to make this game really, really fun, and I really enjoy the heck out of this one. Number 12 is going to be Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi is my favorite video game character of all time, and I haven't really loved the Luigi's Mansion franchise enough to put it in like my top 10 franchises ever, but it is a ton of fun to enjoy every now and again. And the third entry, they did a lot to kind of give you more bang for your buck in terms of content. You have tons of floors to explore in this game. You're at a haunted hotel this time. There's a ton of challenges. The Gooigi's a really fun companion. Utilizing regular Luigi and Gooigi is a really cool idea. I think the boss fights are excellent in this game. The new mechanics they introduced really work. There's some tedium with the backtracking, but I think overall the charm of the game and how fun the gameplay can be really outshines the flaws that it has. So it's going to be sitting here on this list. Number 11 is going to be Celeste, an indie darling that I absolutely adore. The themes of depression and anxiety and overcoming the challenges in your life are really prevalent throughout the entire experience, and it's so cool to see how beautiful each of the NPCs are and how important they are for Celeste's journey up the mountain. There's so much I can say about this game. It's incredibly challenging, very tough as nails platforming. It feels very much Super Meat Boy style with its own like twists and turns and everything. They really nailed movement in this game. They nailed the aesthetic. They nailed the themes. This is an easy 10 out of 10 experience and one of the best indie games ever made. Number 10 is going to be Cuphead. I'm talking about great indie games. This one looked phenomenal when it first got announced. I saw that it was going to be an Xbox exclusive and I got really sad. Finally got ported over to the Switch. I was over the moon, and I had a blast playing this game. This is another tough as nails game, bullet hell shooter, boss rush style. The overworld's really fun to explore. I love the aesthetic. The old like super old cartoon aesthetic is really phenomenal throughout. It really nails that charm throughout the entire experience. I think the boss fights are perfection. Even the DLC really nailed it. They just knocked it out of the park in every single avenue. Going for the like full completion, getting like S+ ranks and everything is such a phenomenal thing. It's crazy that this game just works as well as it does, and I love everything about it. Number 9 is going to be Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is like one of my few exceptions to the rule. This is a port, but so much more than a port as well because they added so much. They added more characters. They added multiple boxes. You can hold 2 items at a time, which we haven't seen since Mario Kart Double Dash, the best best game in the series, in my opinion. They also nailed racing. The actual movement in this game feels so smooth and sleek, and I think they've really nailed down the driving aspect of this kart racer. They also added a ton of extra tracks. They added tons of DLC. They've balanced the game in tons of ways, so like a lot of kart combinations are viable now. It's just a really fun game to pick up and play, and one of those games that's perfect for a party. This is probably one of the best party games because everyone can jump in and have a very good time. Number 8 is going to be Hollow Knight, another indie darling here. Probably one of the best Metroidvanias that isn't either a Metroid game or a Castlevania game to come out in recent years. This game nails combat. It nails like the badge system where you can equip different things to give you different buffs and boosts. It nails traversal. It nails backtracking very, very well. The DLCs really slapped. They knocked those out of the park. The boss fights are incredibly hard. They nailed the Souls-like aesthetic. Everything about this game really comes together in such a beautiful way. I remember when I finally finished this game, I was recommending it to everybody because I could not get enough of it. That's why we're all fiending for Silksong. I know it's become a meme and we're all waiting for it, but please release Silksong so we can all enjoy it. Number 7 is going to be Tears of the Kingdom. Now, as much as I loved Tears of the Kingdom and had a over 100-hour experience, 10 out of 10 across the board, it was a little samey for me coming from Breath of the Wild. Even this many years later, it just feels like a lot more of the same, which is good. There's nothing wrong with doing more of the same and adding some extra stuff. There is definitely a bunch of new stuff to enjoy, but for me, this didn't come near Breath of the Wild especially. So Tears of the Kingdom is a phenomenal experience, probably one of the best stories ever told in the Legend of Zelda series. I think Ganondorf is menacing and imposing from the get-go. I love what they did with Zelda as a character. So in terms of like the character work, they really excelled and knocked it out of the park. This might be the best that they've ever done in the franchise. And the gameplay is still as good as it was in Breath of the Wild. The new mechanics really shine in this game. So there is a lot to love about this game. Again, I feel like this one could benefit from a remaster on the Switch too, but hopefully that ends up happening. We can all experience it with really smooth frame rates. Number 6 is going to be Mario Wonder. Now, this is the best 2D Mario has been since the Super Nintendo, in my opinion. As good as like the new Super Mario Brothers was on the Nintendo DS, the formula got stale very, very quickly. And Mario Wonder is the opposite of stale. It's innovative, it's new, it's bright and vibrant. The characters are so much fun to play as. You have a huge cast to choose from. This is also the first time that we don't have Charles Martinet as Mario and Luigi, which is very sad, but the new voice actor did a phenomenal job. And they really knocked it out of the park in terms of level design. The wonder effects are incredible and so much fun to experience. Finding out all of them is such a joy. And the boss fights really excel in this game too. I'm excited to see what they do with this franchise going forward because Mario Wonder is just a slam dunk. Number 5 is going to be Metroid Dread. Again, this is the best that we've seen 2D Metroid probably ever. As much as I love Metroid Fusion and Super Metroid, I think this one might even eclipse those two in terms of quality because it does give you a sense of dread throughout the entire experience. The robots that you're fighting at the beginning of the game make you feel helpless and hopeless. It is a terrifying experience, very isolationist in the best way possible. All Metroid games do that. They give you this sense of isolation, but I think Dread might do it the best. It also has some of the best fights in the entire franchise, with the final fight against the big bad of this game probably being the best boss fight in any Metroid game ever. And I don't say that lightly. They've done some pretty good ones before, but I think they like really hit the ground running and hit it hard, and they gave you an immense challenge. Trying to beat this boss took me hours, and I usually don't struggle that much with a game like Metroid or like Castlevania. This is easily the best Metroidvania game on the market today, so if you haven't tried it, go check it out. Number 4 is going to be The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus and Repentance. Now, I originally got the Afterbirth Plus version on the Nintendo Switch. I didn't get it originally, but I saw that like used copies were going for a little bit more than they had, and so I'm like, oh, they must not be selling them. Sure enough, they weren't selling copies anymore. They hadn't released like the re-release of it yet. So I got one on eBay for pretty cheap before the prices started skyrocketing, got some of the bonus content, got the original manual and everything, and I had a blast. I didn't expect to love this game as much as I did, but I have put well over 1,000 hours into this game between Afterbirth Plus and the Repentance expansion. The original Binding of Isaac came out well over a decade ago. I've done a full review on that if you want to check that out, but the Repentance Deluxe gave us even more content to an already like hugely content-rich game. And I was gonna say bloated, absolutely not. This game is content-rich. There's so much to enjoy about this game, and the more you play it, the more you're rewarded for your time. I love that about this game. It's the best roguelike on the market, absolutely 100%. Number 3 is going to be Smash Ultimate. If there's a game that I have played a little bit more than Binding of Isaac, it is Smash Ultimate. With thousands of hours into it, I've competed, I've played with friends, I've practiced with my friends, I've done all sorts of stuff from the competitive side to just playing around with World of Light or playing casually. This game has something for everybody. It's one of the best competitive games on the market for sure, despite some of the power creep of the DLC 2 pack. But it's so cool to see how many franchises are represented in Smash now. I think Sakurai really nailed it. He did such a phenomenal job, and I have to applaud him because Smash is such a beloved series, and to kind of send it off with this for his last game directing the series is such a cool thing. They really did make the ultimate Smash game. Number 2 is going to be Mario Odyssey. Now, Super Mario World is my favorite Mario game, but Mario Odyssey is right there near the top. I absolutely love this game. I love the style. I love Cappy. I think he's a phenomenal companion. I love the capturing mechanic and being able to become like a frog or a T-Rex. I love the boss fights. I think they did a really good job with those. Movement in this game is second to none. They did everything that I love about Mario Galaxy, and they really just cranked it up to 11. I think Mario Odyssey is the best 3D Mario game by a landslide. They did so much to make this game fun and accessible while also posing a great challenge. There's tons to do in this game. Tons of bonus content that they've added down the line with like Balloon Hunt, which was really fun for a while, but I've also seen people doing mods for it, and watching like the modding community go crazy is awesome, doing challenges and everything. I just think this game is spectacular, and I'd love to see a sequel in this vein or something very unique like Mario Odyssey, because I just loved it so much. But my number 1 is going to be Breath of the Wild, the launch title for the Switch, the best game on it to this day. I absolutely adore Breath of the Wild and everything about it. I did a review on this very recently. I talked about how life-changing it was in terms of like how video games can be so impactful for you. I just had such a beautiful experience from start to finish. It was one of those games I just could not put down for well over 100 hours, just exploring every little nook and cranny, doing every little side quest, finding new recipes and finding new weapons and finding new ways to have fun in this world. It's just so expansive and so beautiful, and finding everything the world has to offer, except those Korok seeds. Didn't go after those Korok seeds. They were annoying. But everything else about this game is just a perfect video game. Everything comes together so beautifully. Those are my thoughts on my top 15 Nintendo Switch games of all time. Let me know in the comment section down below if I missed any of your favorites. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.